So one of the first things I'd like to say is, in age of technology, I am low-tech and hands-on in my work. Here on the table are all the tools of my trade. I have a very expanded art practice. So I do large installations of which you are just going to see little segments and fractions of them. I do sculpture and objects and painting and many, many works on paper. Drawing is a very strong foundation in my work. I don't particularly draw with ink though. I draw with fire and knives and thread and hot glue. So here is a section of a large installation. This is an ongoing installation. It's a temporary installation, and I've been doing them with the eggs and the tape and underground and on shells since 2008. This is a small section, but to let you know that it's also a piece about not just text and messages and how we're influenced by language, but also about consumerism. And here's an example of, I often use discarded materials. This is an example of, these are shells from all the eggs that I've consumed over time. I saved them for a long time before I even knew what I was going to do with them. And then I tattoo text on them. And then I unwind these tapes from audio cassette tapes that I've saved over the years. So it's a whole mishmash and collage of all the music that I've listened to that has influenced me over my life. And I'm very influenced by music in my work and in my thinking. So this is called the Unwinding Destiny Project. Paper is a big favorite of mine. Paper is so forgiving. I love working with paper. The next few images of sculptural works that you're going to see are all done with fire and rice paper. I'm pretty obsessed with positive and negative space. Working with fire is very palpable. It's very immediate. As soon as you make a mark, you first of all can never take the mark back, but it creates positive and negative space immediately. So as I'm burning out, I'm also burning in. And some of these works I'm also looking at to recontextualize, to make into large public artworks with sustainable materials. So these all, and the number of works here with fire, as with my other work, are all very process-oriented, labor-intensive. Much of my work involves many fragments that create the whole. Often that you're just seeing sections of them. And here they very much allude to pages from a book. These are a selection from my drawings with fire on vellum and rice paper. This is one of the works from a series I did that has to do with the creative tension between the synthetic and the organic, and it's called the Hybrid Intervention series. I take synthetic fabrics. This is Tyvek, which is an industrial housing material typically used to wrap houses before the brick goes on. So I take something completely synthetic and I bring organicity and nature to it. This piece is called Intricacies. I'm pretty much obsessed in all my work with line. Lines that are connected, broken, interrupted, interfered with. This is just a fragment of a very large wall installation. Shadow and light is very important to the work. The last time I installed it, it was about 13 feet by 10 feet by 18 inches, and I take hundreds of feet of different gauge wire and wrap it with rice paper, and then I burn, scorch, and stain it. This is the bottom part of the installation, again, just a fragment, a fraction, and these bottom parts, which again are all this kind of wiring that's wrapped and wrapped, has a certain sacrificial element, and again alludes to the different ways that we connect. And I'm very interested in the ordinary and the sacred and how that's linked. Essentially, in my work, I explore the intrinsic links between destruction and creation. This is a work in Tyvek, also done with much drawing with knives. All my work with blade cutting, I never do sketching first. Each mark informs the next mark. So this is a 3D piece I'm working on. Many of the works are works in progress, but I like to even show the progress because process is so much part of my work. The materials to my work are as important as the work. So many of these pieces have to do again with shadow and light. These are takes on landscape. They're done with vegetable parchment and tarlatan, which is the inside of book material. I love to use materials that are traditionally invisible, and I bring them to surface. And then there's powdered pigment in there, and they're all takes on the interior landscape and how it reflects the exterior landscape. Many of my abstract images are mixed media. This is called The Remains of the Day. I'm very interested in decay and fossils, and it's another example of the wide influence in my work, which includes things of the body and nature and webs and cells and the things having to do with incubation and gestation and growth and decay and rupture and repair and revitalization.